Hi, I'm Darren. These are my hands, and in front of me I have a number of Dark Horse Presents comics because today I'm excited to show you a Groo the Wanderer story that perhaps you've never read before. Well, you may have seen these comics in one of my earlier videos this year because I finally managed to complete my collection of Dark Horse Presents comics. This is the 2015 series? I don't know if you'd call it. It's their 200th issue, but they're calling this issue number 7 of volume number 4. Actually, there's 2 issue number 7s with 2 different covers, 2 issue number 8s with 2 different covers, and issue number 9, volume 3, issue 202, I guess, something like that. Anyway, when I last showed you these books, I teased that on the back of them, we saw that Sergio Aragonés and Mark Evanier were contributors. Let me see it back here as well. These are the ones that I picked up in Winnipeg this summer. Sergio, Mark, hey, Mike Grell. Alternate cover. And then in this issue, Sergio Aragonés, Mark Evanier. So, I've got them here, and we're going to take a look at them today. Inside, we have a 3-part Groo the Wanderer story titled The Kids Who Would Be Kings. Now, each of these issues has 8 pages, chapters 1, 2, and 3, to make a 24-page Groo the Wanderer story. And when you think about the length of a standard comic book, this is basically a comic book's worth of Groo the Wanderer, just kind of tucked into 2015, right about the same time that Dark Horse was publishing the 12-month, 12-comic Friends and Foes series. So very exciting. Before we actually get to the comics themselves, I figured we'd take a quick look at the covers. Now, this particular issue, number 200, featuring this particular cover, I don't know if this is the A cover and this is the B cover, or if this is the A cover and this is the B cover. I guess it doesn't really matter to me because I've got them both. Anyway, I found this one in one of my local comic book stores a year or so ago, and I was so excited, and hey, Groo here's on the cover. Now, Groo is not drawn by Sergio here. At least I don't think he is. It doesn't quite look like Sergio drawing to me. Definitely not Tom Luth coloring. Hey, let's take a look inside and see if there's any credits for the cover here. I'm going to guess, because we got down here, the cover credits to Gabriel, I'm not a Hellboy guy, Gabriel Bay, and Dave Stewart. Variant cover by Eric Powell. So, of course, looks like Hellboy here. Art by Gabriel here. So I'm assuming that this is the primary cover. This is the variant cover created by, oh, I just forgot his name already. Eric Powell. So, there's Eric Powell's version of Groo and Hellboy and Mind Management. Saber-Tooth Swordsman. It's kind of an interesting little thing. And Ape X. So there you go. This is issue number 8. Let's see if we can determine this. Just going to put issue number 9 to the side for a second, along with those 2. Issue number 8, we've got a cover with Tarzan action with Mike Grell, and Sebastian Green is a weird detective, and weird detective stuff here. So let's take a look at the credits. Cover, Francesco Francavilla, variant cover, Mike Grell. So here's our variant cover with Mike Grell's depiction of Tarzan, and here is the standard featured cover with weird detective stuff on it. And I was wondering where my receipts went. I wonder if they're in here. Probably would have stuck it right here with Groo. No receipts. Okay, we'll come back to this in a moment, because right now we're going to take a look at... Oh yeah, that's it right there. Sergio's cover for issue number 9. And there is no variant for issue number 9. At least as far as I know. Let's take a look and see what the cover credits say. Cover, Sergio Aragonés with Tom Luth. Back cover and spot illustrations, blah, 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 blah. So, no variant here. And the Kids Who Would Be King, Chapter 3, starting off this comic. So, taking a look at this cover, a few things for me to note of it. First of all, Groo seems to be inked in a little bit of a scratchy manner. Like, take a look at his eyes there. Maybe not Sergio's best eyes, but that's okay. Rufferto's looking pretty good. I think when I look at Groo here, looking at his knuckles perhaps, and little elbow marks and stuff like that, I'm seeing less of the fluid lines that Sergio had in the 80s and 90s, what I have called his kind of scratchier style now. Interesting to see kids without big, white, round eyeballs with pupils in the eyeballs. Instead, we just have some kids here who only have the pupils. Sergio has done that occasionally, and it's always a very interesting look. Oh, I wish I could tell you the comic itself where Groo had those kind of eyes in it, but I remember looking at that thing, wow, those are remarkable eyes for Groo. I thought they were really neat. And I absolutely love the spear tips that these soldiers are wielding. Yeah, tassels are nice, but all the design that is on the spear tips, and they're not totally symmetrical, each one of them. I looked very closely at them, hoping that I would find, some little secret hidden drawings in there. I wasn't able to see any, but if you see any, please let me know. A wonderful cover with the Groo title block that we know up there. Really nice to see Groo featured front and center on the cover of Dark Horse Presents issue number 9. I'm going to bring out issue number 7 here again, so I can read Mike Richardson's words here. See if he has anything to say about Groo. Basically, he's celebrating the 200th issue of this comic book, which is great. So it's mostly featuring on that kind of stuff. He says, we've tried to make Dark Horse Presents number 200 very special by offering 32 additional pages of story and art at no extra cost. And let's not forget a very special lineup of comic talents who are here to celebrate with us. So that's nice, including Sergio in a very special lineup of comic talent. So let's look at some Groo the Wanderer, the Kids Who Would Be Kings. I'm going to pull out the variant cover here because Groo's on the cover. And we will search for my receipts. So, without reading and showing you the entire comic, we're going to take a look at it. We're going to comment on some of the art and the story, and we'll leave tracking this down for your leisurely reading as an exercise for the viewer. So, just want to point out, Sergio has dated this as 2013, even though this was published in 2015. What was happening in 2013 as far as Sergio goes? Well, I believe he was in the midst of publishing Sergio Aragonés Funnies, drawing them as well. Hogs of Horror had already been drawn and published. Perhaps Sergio was working on Groo versus Conan at this point, looking forward to the 2014 publication of that. Even though this, what we're reading right here, came out in 2015, that's kind of looking at the timeline of what things were happening at the time. We have already passed the era of one-off comics from Sergio, the monthlies. All we've been getting since the end of Image have been the 4-comic miniseries, longer stories, not these one-offs. So it's kind of exciting to get a one-off story like this. And what's going on? Well, Groo wanders into this town and he's hungry, and all the people in the town are hungry as well. We've got a great nose joke. Groo says, "If I believe my nose, that is the sweet aroma of fish frying." Rufferto says, I believe your nose. That's a cute looking Rufferto. And the villagers say, we believe your nose, stranger. It's the rest of your face that we doubt. So that's a funny little joke. Everybody in the town is hungry, and Groo has a solution. He says, you know what the cure for hunger is? Eating food. And people say, well, we can't afford to buy food to eat. He says, you don't need to pay for food. You just do what I do, and I'll show you how to get food without coppins. He wanders into the inn. We hear smashing and crashing. Groo comes out with, looks like a roast chicken and perhaps some entrails. And the people know better. They know that they can't all steal food. But there's a child who says, this is no way for the people to live. If I were king, I would see to it that everybody had all the food they'd like. Groo likes this idea because Groo can like a lot of food. How soon can you be king? He asks, and then he offers to help make the boy king. You won't be able to do that, the villagers explain, because the king has a big army, but that's okay for Groo. Groo will be the young boy's army, and he will dispose of the existing king for him. So, here comes Groo. A fray ensues. This is one of those poses that I love to see Sergio drawing of Groo. It's like his feet are up. He's almost kicking his heels together in the air like he's dancing. His arms and his katanas are swinging. Slaying is happening. Rufferto is getting in on the action. His teeth are a little bit funny looking there, but it's a good fray. And here comes Groo to install the young boy as the new king. The old king is smart enough to realize that he should not be messing with Groo. The young boy is crowned king, and Groo reminds him that you said something about people having all the food that they would like. I would like all the food that I would like, says Groo, so the young boy gets to it. He has a simple plan: collect all the wealth, distribute it amongst the poor, make sure that everybody has what they need. Well, in this village, when the poor are now rich and money is not an incentive for labor, costs go up, everyone gets taxed, and nobody is happy. People lose jobs, people are still hungry. Groo, you must regret what you have done. Why, says Groo, I am well fed. You installed a young lad who knows nothing as our king. Our town is in ruins. And so, is Sergio telling us a very on-the-nose commentary about the evils of socialism? Fortunately, it's not as straightforward as that, and we will get to that in the upcoming chapters. But Groo laments at the end, "Oh, Rufferto, I have created another disaster. I must think of what to do." You thinking is what usually causes these disasters. And can I make a comment on how Rufferto in this drawing really reminds me of super old-style Garfield? I don't know if that's a compliment or not. A little boy wanders up. This village is a shambles. If I were king, I would put everything right. Ah, Groo says, here's my solution. To be continued. Rufferto knows that there's something going on. All right, so let's take a look. We'll put issue number 7 away at issue number 8. So here we have the original cover and the Mike Grell cover. Yell really loud which issue you want me to open up to take a look at. What's that? You want to do the Tarzan one with Mike Grell? Me too. I don't remember if I looked for my receipts in here yet. Okay, away you go. Weird Detective. Hello, Tarzan. Now, what we've got from the editor, Mike Richardson, is a great write-up about Sergio. So let me read it to you. For those who don't know, and I assume there are a few reading this book who wouldn't, it goes without saying that Sergio Aragonés is one of the all-time great comic book creators. His work in over 400 issues of Mad Magazine alone would have secured his legacy. From his earliest days, Sergio felt compelled to draw. He tells the story of being left alone in a room with a box of crayons as a child. When his parents arrived to pick him up, they discovered the walls were covered with hundreds of drawings. He has won numerous Harvey, Eisner, Rubin, Shazam, Adamson, and National Cartoonist Society awards. Groo, probably his greatest creation, shall we take a vote on that? Continues this day with collaborator Mark Evanier. Having first seen print in the early 80s, the character passed through a number of publishing houses before landing at Dark Horse. As you will see in this issue, Groo also graciously agrees to star in our favorite anthology from time to time. Okay, is he starring in this anthology from time to time? We had issue 200, we have issue 201, we have issue 202. From time to time, as far as I know, there was only one other time that Groo has starred in Dark Horse Presents, and that will be a video for another time. Our special thanks to Sergio, not just for the comics he contributes here, but for decades of extraordinary work that just keeps getting better. It's amazing where a passion for drawing and a box of crayons can lead. So again, The Kids Who Would Be Kings, Chapter 2, art by Sergio, wordsmith by Mark, colors by Tom, lettering by Stan. Let's go. Oh, man! Bingo, open to the right page. Again, 2013, Groo has found the solution to his hunger problems, the problems that the village is facing. He says to this child, "Do you think you can be a better king than the lad I installed?" And the child answers, "Who could do a worse job?" And Groo says, "I probably could. See, it's good. You got to get the jokes in early, right, Sergio? Because the rest of the comic isn't funny." That's not what I meant to say. Groo says, "I have been king of several kingdoms, Rufferto. How many of them are better now? Who knows? None of them exist now." So, Groo takes the boy to the castle to install him as king again. And the villagers remark, "Will this new king be better than the one we have now? As the sage once said, never think things could not get worse. Things will always find a way." So, into the castle, into the throne room, down with the army, out with the old young king, in with the new young king. "You shall be king now. My apologies, former king." And the former king says, "Good luck, new king. You will need all you can get." "For my first royal decree, all the food I would like to eat?" Groo asks hopefully. "No, we must see that all have jobs." So instead of instituting a new socialist state, the new king puts together a nice communist state. He takes over all of the businesses and industries in town, makes them all part of the crown corporations. He assigns jobs to all the villagers. He prevents them from leaving the town. He pays the people poorly. Nobody gets enough food that they want. It's not working out. The young king says, "For your own good, I have decreed that all industries and enterprises belong to the crown." The villagers are concerned about whether the poor will become rich, whether the rich will become poor, what economic system works best. "You people should not worry about wealth. I never do. I will control the wealth and give you what you need." Groo thinks that makes sense. Rufferto, not so much. Well, of course, everybody is unhappy, and the young child ruler realizes that in order to control his power, he needs to have a strong army. So he conscripts. He begins training his new soldiers for battle. Groo comes in and says, "All right, let's have a fight." This is actually a really nice picture of Groo in battle. I like his knees up like that. His eyeballs are nice. I don't know what's going on with his teeth there, but they look pretty funny. But instead of fighting soldiers in training, Groo says, "I shall return when you are sufficiently trained to slay me, and I will slay you." That almost makes sense. And the people say to Groo, "Groo, you must help us. Our economy is frozen at low levels. We need jobs that reward us. We need incentives. We need food." And Groo says, "I can get food. Groo is a good food getter." So trying to pull off his old trick, he heads to the inn. He wants to get a whole lot of food, but there's nothing good for the people of this village. Leftover garbage, yuck. Of course, Groo thinks leftover garbage can be quite delicious. Our village has been ruined under the new king. Well, what do you expect me to do, Groo says. Get you another king? Little girl shows up. We do not need another king. What this land needs is a queen. To be continued. All right, away we go. So, socialism doesn't work for the village. Communism doesn't work for the village. Is it going to be democracy that we're looking for? We'll find out in Chapter 3, drawn in 2014. So, presumably the beginning of the year. As far as mentions of Sergio by Mike Richardson, we've got this. This month we do our part by offering a wide variety of content showing the vast storytelling potential of our favorite art form. Leading off is the final chapter of The Kids Who Would Be Kings, starring Sergio Aragonés, Groo the Wanderer with wordsmithing by Mark Evanier. That's all we get. So, let's take a look at the comic. Groo asks the little girl, "You want to be queen? Why not? What matters is not gender. Intelligence is what matters." Intelligence? I have heard that is a good thing and have always been meaning to try it. So, the little girl says, "You will make me the new queen and I will fix everything." It will not be as easy this time for Groo to install his selection. The current king has a vast army. Oops. And here comes the army that doesn't think that it has very good chances against Groo. "You wait here while I do what I do best. Thank you, Groo. It was about time we had a catchphrase." Into the fray. And, this is a short 8-page comic. We don't have a lot of time for splash pages, but this 2/3 of a page is pretty nice to take a look at here. We got lots of spears. We've got nice metal coloring on the shields by Tom Luth. We've got a nice, I think, pretty fluid drawing of Groo here. This is kind of Sergio doing what Sergio does best. I appreciate the fact that his mouth is all black and he doesn't have... I'm not a fan of the all-tooth mouth, so I like that mouth. Rufferto's looking normal. He's getting into the fray. He doesn't have all those lumpy, bumpy teeth like we saw in the first chapter of this. Groo is taking too long in the fight, though, so the little girl is going to walk up and take over the crown. "Why are you surrendering?" the current and soon-to-be former king says. "There are still men left standing." And his advisors say, "We are surrendering because there are still men left standing. We welcome you, our new Royal Highness." So, seems like she's going to use some sensibility here. "Now that I am seated on the throne, I wish to hear the voices of the people. Let the people be heard." Whoa, it's democracy. Another on-the-nose commentary by Sergio? Fortunately, we're going to see that it actually goes a little bit deeper than just that. "We must have less taxes. There must be more jobs. Let the ill die off. Save the ill and let the poor die. Take care of the poor. We must have more taxes. Tax the rich until they are poor. Feed the poor to the rich. More pie." I can get behind that one. "The people do not know what they want. I want to hear from learned men." Those were the learned men. And the queen comes to the conclusion that the town Larchmont is a divided queendom. There would seem to be no way to satisfy all, but there must be a solution. There must be. Well, the queen has given the merchants and the industrialists back their businesses, but she insists we pay the workers well. The queen opens up the borders, so now they may export and, even better, import cheaper goods. Oh, but now we have immigrants showing up and the people aren't too keen on that because they're taking jobs away for lower wages. The wealthy are being taxed, so they don't like this. Groo says, "I see naught but sad faces around Rufferto. I guess I erred." 2 comments. Has Groo erred? I'm glad the catchphrase is out there. "I see naught but sad faces." Wow, Groo, what a vocabulary. Rufferto says, "It would not be the first time you erred." So it's almost like a civil war. The people don't know what to do. Somebody has an idea. If we do not like our current ruler, let us ask Groo to get us another. I withdraw my suggestion. And what happens in the end is that it seems that some of the people begin to realize that there are no simple solutions to the problems of their kingdom. Thinking back to previous times, we had our problems, true, but before we were at least governed by someone who knew something about governing. I like this picture of Groo. I like the dopey eyes. I like the lips. He's looking sad in a non-frowny, pouty kind of way. That's a good lip there. And Groo laments, "They are right, Rufferto. My doings always result in doing wrong. Never again will I try to make things better." Yeah, we'll see about that, Groo. "Everything here is a mess," this young boy says. "I could fix it all if you would just make me king." "Yes, yes, I will make him king, and all will be well. Wait, Groo." He actually learned something. "No, I will not meddle again, Rufferto, I promise." And away he runs. Okay, 2 last things to take a look at. Look at Rufferto here. I love his snout and his mouth and his eyes. Very cartoony. He's off the ground. Yikes! Great drawing of Rufferto here. And a moral. Good intentions do not always bring good results. Is this the last moral that Sergio has delivered in a Groo comic? I think it might be. Interesting. So, what do I think about the kids who would be kings? Well, I think I still long for the days when Sergio was putting out monthly humorous comic books. And I guess I kind of hope that this 3-chapter affair, which was kind of like a comic book in itself, a one-off, would be a humorous Groo story. I get it, though. Making funny is a lot more difficult than doing commentary. What do you think, though? I hope that you enjoyed taking a look at this with me. Hey, do you own these comics? Did you get them when they came out? If not, did you have a difficult time scrounging them up like I did? I'm sure glad I was able to acquire them all, though, and share some of my thoughts about it with you. I've got some more fun stuff coming up, some more rare Groo that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. And of course, Gods Against Groo coming out in 2 months. Get your pre-orders in at your comic book shop. One to read and one to save, right? Maybe even get a copy to give to a friend. And until I see you again next time, please make sure that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on. Leave a comment below. Like this video if you like it, and I will see you again on GrooTube. I really do like that nose. It's such a thing to be able to reproduce.